Right, how are we doing, everybody? This is my outdoor kitchen. Built it a while ago. Fair dues, I should have filmed it, but I forgot all about it. Well, you can see we've got main structure up, all floors tiled, and I've been trying to work out how and what to do best for me sort of the cupboard area. Now, I made a wooden setup, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm just in the middle of dismantling that because it doesn't work. So I've come up with these two steel cabinets. Now they've got doors, although they're not on yet. So I'm going to build a bit of a frame on the end coming out and round. Then that's going to be tiled the same as the floor. And then a piece of granite on top, I think. And that should give me a nice working countertop there. So we'll see how that one goes. That's my chopping board I made. I think I videoed that. Can't remember now. Right, I'll show you what I'm just dismantling now. Right, they were going to be the doors, which I've just taken to bits. You can see they were all held together by pocket screws and that. This is the cupboard, this is the back, and then obviously you've got your three doors going down on the front. It was going to be shaker style, like that. But like I say, I've decided that one isn't going to work, so I'm just dismantling that, taking it all to bits. And it's a shame, but I think at most I'd have only got a couple of years out of that before it started, weather starts getting to it or all like that. So I think the tiles and the granite will work out better because it's basically going to be waterproof and hopefully last me a lot longer. So I'll time lapse taking this to bits so you can see what's going off, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, that's that to bits. It just shows you how good modern glues are today. There's no screws in there, you can see. It's only the glue that's holding it, and rather than it break apart, it's totally just snap the wood. Same on the end there, you can see where the line is. Just snap the wood instead of just breaking the joint apart. Come a long way, glues have, a long way. Right, I'll clear this mess up and I'll be back in a minute. Now, this is one of the sides we're going to be using, and then this is going to be tiled, but got a bit of a rock on the bottom, so wedge under one side and set it level. Aye. Right, that's it level across top. I've got a gap here where this is not quite square, so simple compass, use it for scribing. I'm just going to run a line across top of cupboard across the back. I know what height I want it. So as you can see, I think it's picking it up. They're the marks as it goes down scribing. So I'll cut it up along them marks, cut it to height, and then I'll work out what width I want it then. Right, so we've got the track saw set up now, and this is just so that I can get the back levelled up, because as I said, the gazebo's running slightly on a bit of a conk after all these years. So what we're going to do now is just trim this back edge off on a taper, then when we offer it up and it's sat on the floor, it should sit level, and then I can mark my front edge off then. So I'll get this bit done. That's that section sorted. We'll take it outside again, offer it up, and see how we're looking. As you can see now, we've got that nice and level across there. So now when I mark the front for the width I want and cut that down, that'll run down plumb as well. So I'm just going to work all that out now, and then we can get that bit cut as well. Right, what I've done now, I've worked out my overall width. I'm cutting these at 460. I want my worktop to be 500 wide, so by the time I've added 10mm onto here for the thickness of my tile on the front, then that's going to give me a nice 30mm overhang on my worktop, which I think will look nice. So I'm just going to cut this down now at the 460, and then I've already got my line on there for the height where I've just scribed it across the cupboard. So I'm going to get these two cut, and then we'll have a look and see how it fits. Right, that's it cut to size. So just before I forget where I am, I'm just going to mark top. So I don't try and fit it upside down and then wonder why none of the lines work. So I'm not showing you every cut I make with the track saw. You guys have seen it being used many times if you follow me. So I'm not going to bore you to death showing you every single cut. Let's go and see how this fits and see how we're looking. Right, is that the right way around or isn't it? Yep. So that's how she's looking now. Like I said, that's the overhang, but don't forget this is going to sit about there, and then we're going to have a front piece on here which I'm going to make next, and then that is then going to be tiled up. But if I can hold it all, then these cupboards are going to pull forward so that this edge is dead level with the tiles, so it all runs in smoothly. I hope that makes sense. Should do, I think, but only time will tell. We'll see if we get it right. As always, there's no planning, it's all make it up, suck it and see how we get. Should look alright, I think. Right, we'll get this section worked out and I'll get that cut, and we'll start fastening it together to make the L shape, and then I just need to build a framework up around to make it into like a fully freestanding entity, and then I've got something that I can I've got something then that I can drill through the sides here once I've got these in place and fasten the cupboard to so it can't move. Then everything's going to be secured in, and like I said, we can silicon everything to death then, and hopefully no water gets to it. Right, I'll get this bit worked out and I'll show it you. Right, so just set the table saw up. So I've worked out the piece I need for the front needs to be 130mm. So I've set the fence at 130. Now because I'm going to mirror this at the other side, I'm going to cut two pieces. So I've got them identical in width, and then I can start marking the other side up then. But while I've got saw up, I'll cut them both at the same time. Same again, you've all seen table saw working, so I'm not going to film it. I'll fetch you back when it's done. Right. So I've just offered these up outside and they don't look right. So what I'm going to do now is reset the saw, and I'm going to cut these in half. And we're just going to have a smaller return, so I'm not wasting as much space outside. So I'll get the saw set up, get these ripped down and start again. But this is the beauty about not having plans, and just work it out as you go along and see what happens. Right, so we've got them cut down now. So we're now 2 cut down to 65mm. So basically we're going to look something like that. All these are basically is something to stick tiles to, just to finish all the edgings off. Ideally that sat there and then tiled would have been brilliant, but that's not thick enough to stick tiles to, which is why I've got to make a bit of a return to stick the tiles to come up to the edge of this cupboard. So it's unfortunate, but I'm not skilled enough to cut tiles that thin just to stick right on that edge. So right, we'll get these fastened on now and start making the boxes up. Because I'm only using thin material, I want something to beef the corners up. So what I'm planning on doing is a bit of the old 2v1 from the old cupboard that we smashed up, glued and pinned across there, and then that gives that something to glue and pin into there, giving me a nice stable corner piece then. And then it also allows me enough room here to build another piece coming across and then a leg down to the back, making it a substantial framework. Getting plenty of glue around all this. I don't want this moving at all once we've got it all in place. Right, work it in so it's all nicely glued up. Right, get it in position, start pinning it. Right, so just glued and pinned this piece in at the back, matching front, and then I think camera might pick it up. I'm just a little bit shy of using this timber, so I either rip some other down that's exactly the right size for me, or use these spacers and then they fetch me perfectly flush. So just using what I've got, get rid of this. Like I said, this is that old cupboard you saw me take to bits. Instead of wasting it, we can reuse it, use the spacers, which fetches me perfectly flush, and that will help strengthen all this side up. Now these pieces are going to go up to the sides of the cupboard, so that when everything's in and done and I've got them all in place, I'm going to drill through the sides of the cupboard and screw into these so that they can't move at all. So that's the only reason I'm putting these in, is something to secure the cupboards to. So I'll get these in and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're done.
Right, that gives us our side. So I'll take it outside now and we'll see how it looks when it's in position. Right, so a bit tight for room here with other things. I've got the next piece in place. It's just sat straight on the floor, and as we put the level on, I don't know if you can see that, it's just out of level, just needs to come up a little bit. So that means it's not sat on the floor straight, so we need to scribe the floor. What we do first is wedge the corner up that's low until we're level at the top. That is now level, and then we use the compass straight across the floor, draw a line, cut that, and once we've cut that, that should then sit on the floor level. Right, now we're sat level, we can do the same again and scribe that back. It's not far out, but it's out a little bit. So we'll scribe the back, and then that should sit square as well. Then we can start marking the rest of it out. Right, so now we're sat square. You can just see the pencil line there, I've just marked across the top. So we'll cut that now, which gets us height, and then we'll start working out for the front to get that nice and level. Then it's just a matter of repeating the steps we've done on that one to beef it up, and we're away. As you can see, I've just drawn a line straight down there. So all I've done is levelled it up, drawn straight down the edge of the cupboard with the pencil line, so it's straight down the edge of there. And then what I'm going to do now is, when I can get it one-handed, is we put the tile on the edge there, and we minus the thickness of the tile, and that's where we cut his board to, and that gives us a nice line all the way down to work with. So I'm just going to go and cut that now, and then we can start beefing up. Right, so we'll back onto these sides. What I did yesterday was cut these tiles, falling over my steps, cut these tiles for the front section. I've cut them oversize, and my brother, who is a tiler, is going to come down and cut me a straight line down them with his diamond cutter. I'm not good enough for that. I'm alright to stick them on, but that's about as far as I'm going. So I got them on the side yesterday, so that they're not going to move or try and slide when I'm trying to put these top ones on. Now all I'm sticking them on with is good old sticks like shit, and apparently that will stick quite well. Being the absolute professional that I am, obviously I forgot to film this bit yesterday, so that's why you haven't seen that. But basically it was just cutting tiles, you know, measuring out, cutting tiles, making sure that they're perfectly flush with the front. And the way I did that was just hold another piece of tile up like that, tight to the front, and then push the other tile back to it, and that gives me a flush finish then. So they're on there done now, so I can lay them down the other way and stick the big tiles on there, which are all down there cut ready. So it's literally just gluing on, spacing up properly, getting them all to line in, and leave them overnight then to set up properly. And then it's just waiting for our kid to come, trim these down for me, and then we can get them put in place and fasten the two metal cabinets in. So I'll get these set up and then I'll show you what I'm doing. Right, just put a pencil line along the edge of the tile, and that gives me a rough idea then of where I need to put the adhesive, and then get the first tile on and just rinse and repeat. Right, that's the first one done. So it's just a matter of doing exactly the same on the next one and leaving them to set. Right, these have had a good bit of time now to set. Nothing's moving. So they've had what, 2 days I think since I glued them on. So now it's time to grout up. So I'm going to mix some grout, get these done, then they can set up today. And then, like I said before, it's just waiting for my brother to cut them, then we can get them fitted. So I'll get mixing up and then I'll show you how it goes. Right, for anybody that's not done any tile grouting before, these are the tools I'm using. So obviously you want a tub to mix in with, your trowel to mix it up. We're only doing a little bit here, so I'm doing all this by hand. If I were doing a big floor, I'd mix it with the big drill attachment that has the mixing paddle on. But like I say, it's only a bit, so just by hand. That's your grouting paddle. So basically you use that for pushing the grout right in, so it gets right into the joints. You can do it with your fingers, just keep pushing it, but I've got the paddle, so I'm going to use it. And then you need a sponge, which is going to wipe off all the excess and get your lines nice and smooth. So we'll get mixed up and I'll show you how that lot goes. Right, so the way I do this is trowel it in. And get the paddle, just force it in with the paddle as hard as you can. And just keep forcing it in. You want to make sure everywhere is absolutely ram-packed full. No good just getting it on surface, because it'll just fall out if you haven't got enough in over time. And the beauty about the paddle is it scrapes almost all the excess off. Like I say, if you haven't got the paddle and you're only doing a bit, you can do it with your fingers. Just remember, a lot of grouts are cement based, so they can end up making, if you are doing it with your hands, they can make your hands very sore. Right, that's that one done. I'll get the other one done, then I'll show you how we wash it all off. Right, now we start with the wash off. You can see how it's all drying, or you might be able to see on the tiles. If you leave it too long, that is a nightmare to get off your tiles. But you've got to be careful you don't take all the grout out, because the grout's still wet through. So you try and get it off your tile. Without hitting the grout if you can. It's not always possible. I think that's got that one. And then it's just a light swipe over your grout just to get your nice smooth grout line. And you've got to be constantly cleaning your sponge. Otherwise all you're doing is just spreading it. Instead of taking all the excess off, you're spreading it about the tiles, which you don't want. A professional does this a lot quicker than what I'm doing it. My brother doesn't mess about like this. He's got a knack that I haven't got. I just have to take my time and do it this way. This is how I found works for me. May not work for you. You just have to do what works for you. Right, that's that one done. I'll get the other one done, and then it's just a matter of leaving them to dry off, and then we buff them up. Right, that's both of them done, all grouted up. Now we've just got to wait for them to dry. As they dry, you get a powdery film all over it, but once all your grout's set, get a soft cloth, and all you do is just buff it all right up, and all that powder comes off and leaves you with a nice finish. So it's just a waiting game now. Now this grout's had overnight to dry. Not sure whether the camera's picking it up, but you can see how it leaves this chalky film all over the tiles. So all we do now, we get a soft cloth, buff that up, and that's them ready to go on as soon as they've been cut. See little bits on these. I'll get a cloth and we'll have a look at it. That's it, all done. So just a waiting game for our kid to come and cut them, and then we can put them on. Right then, we've got a bit of a jump forward. I had to do a lot of rushing about. I went and ordered the granite for the top, which I think you'll agree looks absolutely stunning, especially with my coffee on it. Yeah, I ordered that, and they said, yeah, we'll deliver it tomorrow. Which meant I had to get home, get these sides on, get it siliconed up, get all this in place. So basically what I've done is I've put silicone on the inside edge of the tile, which is cream CT1, and then clear silicone on the floor where I marked out where these were going to go. So this sits on top of the silicone. And then the buttons, if you remember, that strengthening buttons I put in, that ran across, I put silicone so it sticks it to the side of the cupboard as well. And then where the strengthening bar goes across there, I've put a metal bracket and screwed it into there and into there, same both sides. Very simple but effective. And then inside here, as you can see, I've screwed through into the wooden beams that go across, where I've put silicone on as well, so it all holds it together and it's all in. Oh, knocking camera all over. So that's it in this far. Now my job now is I've decided I don't like cobwebs. Decided I don't like the look of this, so I'm going to tile this little bit here just to finish it off. But what that also does as well, because this side's on the end and more prone to weather, by the time I've tiled that section and siliconed it all in, this end is totally sealed, so it should give me a lot better protection from the weather over the winter and everything, if the wind's blowing that way. So I'll start cutting them tiles, and then we'll get them stuck on. Just going to be the same again like I did with these. Just going to get stuck on with sticks like, and then we'll grout them up and silicone them, and then, like I said, that's this end done. The next thing I want to do is, you'll all probably know, I don't do spiders in any way, shape or form. So these vent holes, what I'm going to do is cut some little squares of clear perspex and silicone them on so that it seals it from the inside, so no spitters can get in. but what it also does is hopefully you'll not be able to notice too much from this side that they're sealed. And I'm quite pleased with that. It's looking nice. So I'll get on, get them tiles cut, and we'll be back in a bit. There we are. I've got the perspex over them holes. Just stuck them on with sticks like, so hopefully they shouldn't fall off, and more importantly keep the spinners out. Right, get these tiles cut. Oh, that floor's a long way down. Get these tiles cut now and get them on. Right, that's them on. I think you'll agree that looks better. It finishes that corner off nice now instead of being able to see this section. So it needs now, let it set, grout it up, silicone it in all the way round up the side there so no water can get behind it at all. And that's this side finished off then. Right, I'll come back when we're grouting that up. Right, these are all set up now. I've just grouted them. You saw me grout these, you don't need to watch it all over again. So all I need to do now is let all this grout dry and then silicone down this edge across the floor, and then that's all this side sealed in. Once a bit of silicone across top, I think, and we're good to go. That's one kitchen done. So I'll get it silicone, show you that when it's all done. But I think you'll agree that's looking rather nice. Right, there we go. I've just dusted off like I did with these. Same again, you don't need to keep watching the same thing over again. I've just siliconed up down that gap there. I don't like just grouting corners because it can crack out and leave gaps and then the water can get in. So I always like to silicone them. Not everybody does it, but that's what I do. So that's it all grouted up. It's siliconed across the top. We've siliconed all round bottom, up that side. So this side now, because it's open to any driving rain coming this way or anything like that, is now fully sealed. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that no water can get in, can get under there or anything like that, and it keeps it all nice and dry. But we'll see how that goes. But I think that looks spot on now. So that's the kitchen, well, the kitchen counters in and done now. I'm sure there'll be other additions to it. The next set I think is putting some electrics in. So I've got some sockets and what have you. But I need one up at top there for the fly zapper, and then one maybe down this side for plugging me cooker in and what have you. So right, we'll leave that video there. If you've enjoyed it or found it useful at all, do consider giving us a like and a subscribe. Don't forget to ding the bell so you don't miss any future videos, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers everyone.